Moving to the last question, it's more about what you see for the future, and also every crisis gives us opportunities. How do you see supply chain management shape in the coming years? Are there any opportunities for COVID-19 is bringing to the table? What new technologies, for example, blockchain, do you think will be implemented? We understand blockchain is also now being used, will be probably that an opportunity being probably accelerated. I don't know. I would like to hear all of you. Very short opinion, a couple of minutes also, or 3 minutes, just to have an opinion. Let's start also with Anna, please.
Sure. Well, of course, logistics, as we know, it is not that it's about to disappear, but it will undergo important changes. You have to be at the forefront in terms of platforms that allow you to bring markets and commercial products closer to places that perhaps did not arrive before. Talking about blockchain, as you said, Jamil, is very important because it works with product traceability is an added value that must be considered because we understand that, sorry, mom problem, that we consider, and I'm sorry, I'm really sorry about that, because we understand that it could be create a cyclical economy and talking about best practices and understand new business structures, baby, please, structures to reactive sectors such as agriculture that we are mainly making huge efforts to develop it, which is always a potential winner in any crisis. I think betting and investing in food is always the future. So yeah, this crisis for the world is a huge, huge opportunity to develop and go to the next level, talking about logistics.
Okay, thank you very much, Ana. Enrique, you have a couple of minutes.
Sure. Well, also we've seen now with this situation and with this emergency, a lot of companies or small companies that are just as startups or not big companies are implementing the selling online, no? So one of the main opportunities which are currently adapting a lot of businesses is this part. I think this will be like, well, it has to be already essential almost in every business, but already a lot of companies are implementing or developing more about their online selling. But also the as also Jeff previously commented, I think the supply network mapping is important in order to have a response of this, for example, this kind of disruption. And until now, almost all companies have been reactive or uncoordinated in the impact of the crisis. A small number of companies have invested in mapping their supply networks, even before the pandemic, and even that, and there have been numerous of events such as earthquakes, tsunamis, floods in Asia, hurricanes. Most of companies still found unprepared for the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think it's necessary and is an opportunity for some companies to invest in this mapping. For also a lot of consignees or buyers were still were struggling to check even where their supplies were located in China when the pandemic started in that region. So buyers are not even certain about their suppliers' information in China especially. So many companies and leaders also are talking about now about the needing of supply network mapping, as risk mitigation strategy. But some have not done it because of the perceived large amount of labor and time required. As I said, we see this as an opportunity with new breed of services companies that already are helping to acquire in order to analyze supply network data and organize results in a user-friendly way. A few of these companies are like Elementum, Yamasoft, and Rollisync. So also Harvard Business Review stated that after COVID-19 crisis dissipates, we will see companies fall into one of two categories. There will be those that doesn't do anything, hoping that such a disruption won't ever happen again. These companies will be taking a highly risky gamble, and there will be firms that learn the lessons of this crisis and make investments in mapping their supply networks, so they do not have to operate blind when the next crisis strikes, and rewrite their contracts so they can quickly figure out solutions when disruptions occur. These companies will be the winners in the long term.
Great, Enrique, thank you very much. Chef?
Well, again, I think if you talk about the landscape of supply chain management, to answer your question on the blockchain, I don't think that has a lot of effect. Blockchain is merely a technology to make sure that the information is not manipulated from going from between parties. But the digitalization of the business, for sure, any service, whatever service in the world will be digitalized, whether it's hotel service, whether it's the logistics service, or as we have seen with the taxi service, everything will be digitalized, and either you go along with it or you won't survive. How the supply chain will affect, I think, of course, there is a lot of pressure on the financial side. Airlines are struggling, big forwarders are struggling, carriers are struggling. So yes, what I expect is that they will not be able to, on the long run, to keep on doing this, or to keep on going on with their business. So I think there will be more takeovers between carriers and large forwarders and airlines, like we also saw in the past. So less carriers, and small local forwarders will have more difficulties to survive against the big ones. I already mentioned because of the governmental aid, which is different between countries. But apart from that, I mean, you have to vastly invest in IT budgets and to keep up with the digitalization of the service. And you need, of course, the financial strength to pull this. And that's, if you look at budgets which are spent on companies, on the big freight forwarders, it's brutal. So, I mean, integration, you need to look for integration. So you need to have your own software. You need to have your own IT department. You need to be integrated, to be able to integrate with ERP systems. We already do this, as I mentioned in my presentation. I mean, Rotra is one of the top 5 digital forwarders right now in Europe, where we do ERP integration, where we have our own APIs to integrate with third parties. Everything is already digitalized on our side. So, I mean, and that's where you also see what will come. I mean, other forwarders will for sure follow us. And yeah, I think what in Mexico will change, typically, I think Anna and Enrique will agree with me there. If we go out there and we visit a customer, the customer normally sees us as another supplier and say, hey, you are a freight forwarder, how much is it going to cost? And can you move my cargo? I think, and I hope that truly this crisis and this will help our customers understand that actually the freight forwarder is a part of their supply chain and not merely a supplier, that the client starts seeing that we actually can help them make their sales more efficient. And actually they should invite us. This trend in Europe has already started, where you have more on the control tower side, okay, where, for instance, we actively monitor all the savings together with the client. So we are not anymore the traditional freight forwarder offering, I don't know, to say something. Okay, how much do you have? Well, we are paying 1,000 right now. Okay, let me give you 900. No, we don't do that anymore. We actually are involved more in looking and sitting down together with the customer. Okay, you have a supply chain. Where are the potential savings, and how can we make sure you have more visibility on your whole supply chain? So digitalization and tools like blockchain can help. So, but cloud solutions, of course, are very important, that especially now with home office, as we are seeing, that the customers have access to the paperwork. I mean, some of the forwarders like us, we already have that since 4 or 5 years ago, but other ones will definitely follow. And yeah, I mean, this will put, again, a big pressure on their budgets, especially on the IT side. So that's how I see, or we see, that supply chain will change in the coming years. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeff. And yes, it's true. Everyone needs to be into technology. If not, we're out of the business. Probably they will accelerate a little bit more that all the IT developments that the companies are doing right now. So yes, we just finished with a question. Thank you, everyone.